Hey, Payne County, Father Brian O'Brien here. I'm joined by Father Kerry Wakulich.
Oh, was I supposed to say something right there?
To say something.
I like lunged towards the mic, and then I thought you were going to keep talking. We haven't, how many episodes?
We're losing our edge.
We're 100 and...
This is, I think, episode 103 or
Whoa,
so.
Really? We've done 100? Yeah. Are we supposed to celebrate at 100?
We did. We celebrated 102.
Oh, because we're not just basically...
Because we're not conformists.
We're not basic people.
But
we just do something.
If you're listening to this, maybe you are tuned in on the radio.
Or Spotify.
Maybe you're listening as a podcast, but we're the pastors of Payne.
On Pete FM?
County, Oklahoma, Stillwater, America. And what a joy. Man, the churches are open back up, kind of.
Yeah.
We had a good week of daily masses.
Same.
We had a mass Monday, and there were about 40 people. We had a mass on Tuesday. There were about 42 people. Then the early morning mass. We have on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We have a 7 a.m. mass. So we knew it would be a little smaller.
Really?
So Wednesday there was about 20 people, and then Thursday kind of about the same or so.
Okay.
And so I was telling people that if you're like afraid of people, and you still want to come to mass, Wednesday or Thursday, 7 a.m. The whole back of the church, I mean, everyone had their own pew. The whole back of the church was empty.
646 people at seats?
Yeah.
So there's enough room?
Yeah.
100 people, space out?
So I'm very anxious for the weekend and just how that's going to go.
Uh-huh.
But we're ready. I mean, we got overflow seating, and so we're just going to, Jesus, I trust in you.
Yeah, indeed.
That's our thing.
It's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time to be a priest. This is the most
Father
wonderful
Kerry,
time.
If you didn't know this, maybe you should write this down on your calendar, because on May the 29th, which is this Friday, Father Kerry, your pastor, all you college students out there, he's going to be celebrating 10 years as a priest. 10 years. That's a decade. Now, what is most awesome about that, this is a little inside baseball here, people. We try to kind of give you an insight into the life of priests, but
I have no idea what you're about to say.
In the Diocese of Tulsa, we have a policy. So if you didn't know this,
I do know what you're about to say.
Diocesan priests, okay, we make a salary. So if you know, like a priest in a religious order, or a sister, or a Christian brother or something, they don't make a salary.
Right.
They might get paid for what they do, but they don't get the money. It goes to the order.
Yeah, the community.
And then they are given what they need. So diocesan priests, we're kind of, this doesn't totally translate, but we're kind of like self-employed in that we receive a salary which is paid for by our parish.
Right.
Now, I would not recommend those of you out there, college students looking to make some, serious cash. The priesthood is not your profession. But our policy in the Diocese of Tulsa is for every 10 years you've been a priest.
Get ready. Drum roll.
You get $50 more a month.
$50?
So I don't know if you guys have done your budgeting yet for St. John's, but
we're going to have to.
That better get in there.
$50.
That's
more a month.
$600 a year more.
You know what
so congratulations. You get no raises years 1 through 9.
And then?
So now you and I are going to make the same amount of money.
Whoa. You know what I really...
Finally.
What I really liked...
I've been supporting your... Sorry, bud. All these years since my pay raise went up a couple years ago.
I liked that when you were the president of Bishop Kelly, we made the same amount of money. You were the president of a huge high school and had all these other jobs you were doing, and I was the chaplain at the Newman Center at TU.
Well, that's the beauty of. I think a part of the priesthood. We're a brotherhood in the diocese.
Yeah,
and so it doesn't matter like where you are.
Correct.
It's not like, ooh, I want to go to that parish because I'll get a big rate. Now, I will say the busier the parish, then the more baptisms and weddings and things like that. And people are very nice and usually will like give you a little something for baptizing their baby or
doing
their wedding or come to a funeral or something like that. But anyway, so Father Kerry is going to be rolling in it. But probably not till June, or maybe to the new fiscal year, maybe July 1. But anyway,
no one's told me.
10 years as a priest. Tell us all about it.
So on the day of my ordination, no.
The day I was conceived. No.
Weird. Thanks.
Okay, so 10 years. That's like a decade. That's a good, a decent chunk of your life, man.
It just rolls by. I was thinking.
The one thing about life, it goes on.
It goes on. The wheels of life keep a turning.
The wheels on the bus. They go round and round.
Oh my!
So what? Tell us about it.
So it's been a beautiful 10 years. It's been fun 10 years, because I started off in Hispanic ministry.
Yeah. What have been your assignments?
So my first assignment was St. Thomas More, with Bishop Kelly.
Oh yeah, and you were chaplain at Bishop Kelly.
I was chaplain at Bishop Kelly.
Yep.
So 3 days a week. 3 days a week at St. Thomas More. 3 days a week at Bishop Kelly, and then 1 day off. And so that went on for 9 months, and then I got that
so short. Man.
I know.
I'm so glad. I think our diocese, we're getting better at not yanking guys early. You got yanked early. I got yanked early. Pratt got yanked early.
Well, mine was that Castle went to Good Leaders, Good Shepherds.
Oh yeah,
they needed somebody to move in at St. Pius, where he was the pastor. So they moved Gerlach over to St. Pius.
That was when I got moved into the vocations office.
You got moved into the vocations office. I got moved to TU to cover Gerlach.
Oh.
And then I was working 3 days a week at TU, 3 days a week at Bishop Kelly High School. So I was just getting into my groove.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, it's hard to. You don't hardly even know anybody's names.
I was just starting to be able to preach extemporaneously in Spanish, because I had it, and then every Sunday I would hear 8 hours of confessions almost nonstop. A lot of
confessions at St. Thomas More.
Yeah, just confession, and I was just getting into the groove where people would I knew their names, they knew my names. I know them at the parish. I'd go to a restaurant. It was really cool. I would go to a restaurant and the waiter would be from my parish. I was driving by a construction site over by St. Francis Hospital, and I'm sitting there in the summertime, and this guy goes, "Hola, padre!" And I was like, I look over, and it was these 4 guys that go to St. Thomas More. And so I was chatting with them at the intersection, and then Sunday Mass, I saw them. And, they were we had a parishioner that was a cook at one of these great restaurants, and so he would invite us over at his house.
Oh, I love it.
And just make fantastic. It was like McGill's. He would make fantastic food at his house. This guy was that's
awesome.
From Guadalajara, and so I was just getting into the groove of being in St. Thomas More.
The phone call.
No. I was walking down the halls of Bishop Kelly, and you had told me, you said, "I think the bishop wants to talk to you," because he was there for a meeting.
I remember that. That's awesome.
And the bishop's, I was walking down the hallway, and he stepped out of that office where
I think we
Doug's
had
offices.
An endowment meeting or something.
Yeah, and he goes, "I need to talk to you." I was like,
which, if that happens, here's some more priest inside baseball. When the bishop says, "Hey, I need to talk to you," that either you did something wrong, or you're moving.
Mm-hmm. Or they just want to catch up on life, and it's always
okay.
Yeah. Really? I need to talk to you.
I would like to ask about your life.
Yeah.
No.
How's your humidor?
You're moving. You're moving. Okay. Wow. So you were at St. Thomas More.
St. Thomas More.
And then you at St. Thomas More and Bishop Kelly. Then the University of Tulsa.
Right.
And Bishop Kelly.
Correctamundo. And I was there.
How long?
I was there 4 years.
4 years at TU.
Yep.
And then so 5 years total at Bishop Kelly.
5 years total at Bishop Kelly.
Your beloved alma mater.
Alma mater.
And
St. Thomas More was my home parish. So my 2 first assignments were my home parish, where the gospel on the first Sunday I was there was when Jesus goes to his own hometown, and it says, what? He could do no mighty works there.
Accepted in his
because
own
of
place.
Oh
man.
That was the first Sunday, and I was like, hi.
That's hilarious. What are the odds of that?
Very slim are the odds. So then I went to Bishop Kelly, and then the University of Tulsa, where my mother's an alma mater.
Oh,
so I've been hanging around that part of town and living at Christ the King. That's what I lived with. With Muggenberg, now Bishop of Seattle, Washington. Myself and Pratt and Muggenberg all lived in the same rectory together. Wow. And that was fun because I was learning how to be a campus priest, and Bishop Muggenberg was the chaplain at TU.
He was at Bishop Kelly and at TU.
So I was just asking questions.
And at both of those places, he did a ton to get stuff off the ground, retreats and
yes,
yeah, wow.
So he helped me start some new campus ministry ideas, just helped me thinking out stuff, and then developments because we were doing 100% pure development and fundraising, and so he helped me start newsletter writing, capital campaigns.
Newman centers, college campuses are tough on the funding side because your clientele, your parishioners are sort of cash poor. They're spending a lot of money to be where you are. They don't have a lot of money to put in the.
Oh, they got more money than they know what to do.
Well, they're pouring Venmo. Come on,
they're pouring drinks down their throats. So then it was. When was that?
So that's 5 years,
right?
And then, how did you find out you were coming to Stillwater?
How did I find out I was coming to Stillwater? I don't remember.
Oh,
I don't I remember the day and the place I was when I found out you were coming to Stillwater.
Well, we can tell that story later.
That was. I don't remember.
About me, more about you.
I don't remember where. I know I was someplace.
But that was Bishop Slattery.
Yeah.
Because you got moved before Bishop Conderly came.
Mm-hmm.
So Bishop Slattery made the decision to move you here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think there was a movement in Tahlequah. Leo was in Tahlequah. And they sent him to another parish.
Where did he go? I think he went to Wagner.
Yep, that's right. Because he's been out there now 5 or 6 years.
Father Stewart, your predecessor,
moved to Tahlequah. And then I moved here.
And Ketterer went to you.
Right.
Wow.
And I showed up here, and then with a building project going on. Your building project was just begun.
Wow.
And they were starting to they were pouring cement.
And then where are you moving this summer? What parish are you going to this summer?
I wish. Oh, what? Do you know? Because you're on priest assignments.
I don't. You're not. No, we were all spared this year.
Oh, really? I like being in Stillwater.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm no intention. So we get this every kind of around Christmas. All the priests get a little questionnaire that we can fill out, that we're supposed to fill out, and it basically is sort of how you doing. How's your health? How's your do you have a priest support group? Do you have a spiritual director? How can the diocese help you? Which is nice. And then it asks how long have you been there? Are you is your parish big enough to get an associate? And if you do, do you want one?
Mm-hmm.
And then it basically asks you do you want to move?
Yeah.
And putting down, yes, I would like to move is not a guarantee that you're moving. And putting down, I would like to stay is not a guarantee that you're
going to stay.
That's just the nature of our life. But I mean, here we are. Boom. So you're going into year 4.
4 in Stillwater. 4 in Stillwater. This is my first graduating class right now.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, they were freshmen when I was a freshman.
So college, you got to kind of be there for a while. I mean, relationships got to get built.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then you just get to know the town and get to know the people. And when I first got here, it was womb to tomb ministry. We had funerals.
Oh, yeah, you had a parish.
Funerals, and then there were babies. And then as we were starting to build up campus ministry, as we're building on what Father Stewart had already done, we're just... and what Father Bob had done, and all these Father Joe Townsend, all these other priests had been doing over the years, as we're making the move to go from a parish / students to students only. That was a kind of a beautiful moment to discover what is our purpose on the corner of Miller and Knobloch.
Okay, I have some questions for you. In your 10 years of priesthood,
go.
How many times have you celebrated Mass?
I lost track.
Some guys keep track.
Yeah, I lost track. I tried to keep...
What's your estimate? I don't know the answer.
Okay, so there's... Do you got your calculator? What's 365 times 10? That's what, 3,600?
Yeah.
Hey Siri, What's 3,600?
3,000. Yeah.
Okay. So I've celebrated Mass every day as a priest.
Yeah.
Never missed a day.
Yeah.
Then there's this kind of, so I can do that. Boom. That's easy.
So I bet it's like 4,000.
And then you take 52 times 10, which is 520.
Oh.
So there's your weekends. So there's a plus
we're
one.
Up over 4,000.
We're up over 4,000. And then there's called the St. Thomas More effect.
Oh, yeah.
And the St. Thomas More effect, we'd have 14 masses a weekend. So there was 3, sometimes 4 priests there.
I bet you're up over 5,000 masses celebrated.
So we would have literally 14 masses on some like big weekends. We would have our normal 7 masses. Plus you throw a couple weddings in there and a quinceañera.
Yeah.
And then
you're rocking.
And then you throw a funeral in there on a Saturday morning, and the numbers just start going up and going up.
Okay,
and going
what's the coolest place you've ever celebrated Mass?
Cool.
One. You get one.
What? Okay, one.
Maybe 3.
Okay, I'll give you 2. 2 of my favorite.
As priests, we can basically celebrate Mass kind of anywhere.
Yeah, right.
And we get, if you go to Italy, like you go to St. Peter's and you celebrate Mass, right?
5th day as a priest.
Oh, you went to the Holy Land or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I went with Dr. Tim Gray, my professor in seminary, right. And I was the priest on the pilgrimage because he couldn't find anybody, so he got me. And
rookie.
On the 5th day, on the 5th day of my priesthood, my true love Jesus gave to me Mass in the Holy Sepulchre.
Oh, so at the place of the burial,
right? So
the tomb.
So the sacristan, who's a Franciscan, says, "Hey, I need to." He's Italian and Spanish.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me how to celebrate Mass?
So I'm in the sacristy, and he says the following words. The archbishop who was supposed to be here, he says this in Spalitano, Spanglish sort of Italian, because he asked me if I speak Italian. I say, no, I speak Spanish. So he kind of talks to me in broken Spalitano, and he says, the archbishop who was supposed to be here cannot be here. So you're the celebrant for today's High Mass.
Oh.
And he says, do you know the Missa de Angelis in Latin? And I said, yeah.
Sure.
Somewhat, tal vez. Maybe. And he says, he looks at me and he goes, how many years you been a priest? And I said, 5 days. And they all start laughing in the sacristy, just like laughing. And I said, why? What's going on? And he said, priests have waited their whole life to celebrate this Mass.
Yeah.
He says, what a gift.
5 days.
And I was like, thank you.
Okay, so, that's awesome. Holy Sepulchre.
Okay, so
what else?
So flying back from the Holy Lands. I was sitting next to one of my buddies who was on the pilgrimage with me. He was from Denver. And I said, I'm not going to be able to celebrate Mass today. And he said, so I have my Mass kit in my small bag.
Love it.
And so I asked the lady, where can I celebrate Mass? And she says, well, just, you can find, and I found this little niche. It was like a 6-inch tall by 4-inch wide little square.
The cockpit?
It was a little in the galley. And I said, can I celebrate Mass? And they're like,
back there.
Sure. And so it was basically a little box where you could put something in. And I put my chalice and paten and a corporal in it.
What did you say for the name of the bishop?
I didn't.
Oh. Yeah.
I just left it out.
Who's the bishop of 30,000 feet?
So this was probably the most memorable moment. As we're flying, we land, and I'm walking out, and she stops me, and she says, really funny thing happened while you were celebrating Mass. We were flying across the Atlantic, and we were looking at Nova Scotia. We're supposed to fly over Nova Scotia, and she said there was a huge storm lining the East Coast from basically like northern Canada down to Jersey, and we couldn't fly. And she says, while you were celebrating Mass, the clouds parted, and we were about Greenland, and we flew right through the middle of 2 big storms on either side. And she says, thanks for celebrating Mass.
Wow.
I was like, booyah.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
What's the strangest place you've ever celebrated Mass?
Oh, strangest place?
That might be it. I mean, the galley of a plane.
No, in an office one time. It was like I had no place to celebrate Mass that day.
Yeah.
And I was with my best buddy,
hilarious.
Chuck, and he's like, you can celebrate Mass over in the corner. I got to go check on the troops. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty
So I just celebrated Mass in his office.
I mean, the ideal is obviously in a church on a consecrated
everything
altar.
was locked down, though.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't just like walk up to a church and like get in.
Wow.
But I celebrated Mass there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you?
How many babies have you baptized?
Oh,
Less than most priests who have been a priest for 10 years because you've been in college ministry.
When I was at St. Thomas More, my first assignment,
you baptized a bunch of babies.
Probably 100, somewhere between 75 and 100 kids in 9 months. Now, since then, probably, just college students, maybe a solid 30 or 40 college students I baptize. The question that is like funny is like, how many funerals you been to?
Yeah.
And
You've not been to many.
10. I've done 10 funerals.
Yeah.
Not very many.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty awesome. How many weddings have you done?
Weddings? I think probably maybe like 20 a year.
Yeah.
At TU, at St. Thomas More, I did like one, and I helped out with a Hispanic wedding where you like use the lasso and the aras and stuff like that. Yeah. So Father Samuel like helped me out. I
showed you how to do it.
Yeah, showed me how to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now I think I have 17 weddings this year. Last year I had 23. So a good number of weddings I've done as a priest. And what I think I'm going to have to stop doing this is traveling to people's hometowns to do their weddings, because this was one of my moments where I was like, okay, I need to fix this problem because I keep saying yes to people's weddings.
Overcommitting.
So I had a wedding in St. Louis on May 29th, the anniversary of my priesthood. Then I went to visit some friends, some alumni, and do some donor relationships in Michigan on the way to do a wedding in Ohio. Mount Vernon, Ohio, with the Bremer camps. And then I got there, and then I realized I had driven, halfway across the country. And I said, I have to be on a flight tomorrow to Florida for focus training.
Yeah.
And so I had to drive halfway across the country back in one drive.
Oh dear.
So it was like 21 hours of driving back. Mount Vernon, Ohio. Okay, so there, I'll do a lot of weddings during the summertime. I think some weekends I'll have two. One in the morning and one in the evening. So weddings.
That's hard.
So weddings, a lot of. Funerals, very few of. Baptisms, confirmations, bringing students into the church, a lot of those. It's been that is fun to watch students who maybe like kind of lost their faith in high school, who are like, I'm not getting confirmed.
And then they come roaring.
And then they come flying back.
Okay, major, just names. Give us some names. Who are your major priest influences? Priests who made you want to be a priest.
Priests who made me want to be a priest, probably Bishop Dan Muggenberg, because he was my high school priest, and he kind of gave that first talk about, hey, you should be a priest. You should be a priest. And I was like, no, you're crazy. My Air Force priest, my Air Force chaplain at Langley, Father Ed Moran.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is he still living?
He is still, yes, he's still living.
I don't know this guy.
He's retired. He's retired Air Force. He's the guy who stopped me at the door of the chapel at Langley and said, I think you should be a priest. He said, let's talk about your vocation. And I said, what's a vocation? And he said, I think you should be a priest. And I said, I think you're crazy, but I'll take you up on lunch that you offered. So
free lunch.
Yeah. So those guys had, and then there was this priest. You ready? This guy, Father Patrick Winslow. He's a priest of the Diocese of Charlotte. At that time, he was
still living.
Oh yeah. He's like maybe 12, 15 years older than us. So he's in his mid 50s, or he should almost be 60 years old now. But Father Pat Winslow is a priest, somewhere in Charlotte area. And he was the priest at Blessed Sacrament, where it was one of the 3 parishes I went to Mass. And I went to confession one time, and he said, I think you should be a priest. And I said, You're a lunatic. And so Thank
you for absolving me of my sins. You are a crazy man.
So he also gave me the nudge on a few things
nudges
to get me going in the right direction of priesthood, and talking to me about, and kind of what do you say, quelling some of the anxiety? Like,
yes, there's always a lot of, kind of the unworthiness of it all.
Yeah, no, it wasn't unworthiness. It was more like my life's gonna fall apart if I become a priest.
Yeah, but you are unworthy.
So other,
just so you know.
So other influences that really encouraged me along is also watching other guys become priests.
Yeah.
You're watching your ordination.
Ooh, giddy up.
Your ordination was like...
You were already in seminary.
I was already in seminary.
You were, 3 years out from...
But just to watch your friends be ordained...
Yeah, it's cool.
Is real cool. Like, you're there at their ordination, and you get a blessing from them afterwards. Yep. And so, guys like that who really were friends of mine, or still friends of mine, and then watching them to be ordained priests. There's a priest, Father Chris Hellstrom in Denver, who's my spiritual director.
You talk about him.
Yeah, he's just a rock star.
Love it.
Monsignor Michael Glenn, who was a rector of our seminary.
He died, right?
Yeah, he died of a brain tumor.
Brain tumor, yeah.
Yep. And then
I remember meeting him.
Father Ray Gronsky.
Tulsa, yeah.
Yeah, because him and Muggenberg were really good buddies.
Yeah, he came for somebody's ordination.
I think it was John Grant's.
Stayed at St. Mary's, yeah. Okay, what is your, we just have a couple minutes here, like most challenging thing about being Father Kerry Wakulich?
Most challenging.
About the life of a priest.
Okay, I'll give you two. I'll give you two. Sometimes when I meet people for the very first time, they are slightly caught off guard by my mannerisms / words and phrases. So one of my biggest fears. I
just know this because I hear about this all the time.
One of my biggest fears is
you live with him. That's what people say.
Thanks.
Really? You live? Go ahead.
This is the phrase that gives.
I like that you have self-awareness, though. Go ahead.
This is the phrase that gives me lots of worry. Is this? I remember the first time I met you. I never want to hear that out of somebody. Two things I never want to hear out of somebody's mouth.
Dance floor at my daughter's wedding, and
Michael Pratt, Father Michael Pratt. Like I went to see his grandmother at the nursing home at what's the one on the corner West Haven, and I walk into her room, and she looks up at me and she goes, "Yeah." Now she's got emphysema. She's like, "You're the dancing priest." I was like, "Ah."
Your reputation precedes you.
So
kind of that first impression. Because I think you, and this is good, but can be
hazardous.
Can be hazardous, and that is you are not the stereotypical priest. When people think of what a priest looks like, is kind of age,
yes,
energy, mannerisms. Yeah, you do not fit that that stereotype.
The second one is there's this tension between fear and faith. And so I worry about students' salvation, and I also have to rely and trust in the Lord Jesus.
I trust in you.
Jesus, I trust in you as
all
my
right,
motto.
in our last 30 seconds here, what would you say to a guy thinking about the priesthood?
It's awesome. It's better than the military. My best buddy told me this.
Priesthood.
He's a ranger. He's an Army
military.
Ranger. Oh, he said, yeah.
Stickers.
He said, yeah, we need special forces people around the world to fight wars. He said, but we need priests more because there's a greater battle out there to be fought.
Yeah.
And it's the helping of people become saints and staying free of sin.
What's the best thing about being a priest in the Diocese of Tulsa?
Stillwater.
Wow.
I love this town.
There it is.
The Red Dirt Riviera, dude.
So there it is. Father Kerry celebrating 10 years as a priest of Jesus Christ.
Are we going to call this episode all about me?
This is called the Father Kerry Celebrating 10 Years episode.
Whoa.
So, send him a card. Mostly just pray for his sorry butt. So the Lord will continue to pour out his graces. Well, that's all the time we have. This is the Pastors of Pain. Happy anniversary, Father.
Thanks, amigo.
Thanks for being a priest.
I love it.
All right, we're out. God
Peace.
bless you.